This is the design overview for the 300 by 250 expander ad, part of the expander ad series. You can search for this in your gallery by searching for 300 by 250 expander or by ad ID number 55174. So we'll start off by previewing the ad functionality, which is basically an ad that fits inside any standard 300 by 250 ad size that can expand up to 1,000 pixels left and 1,000 pixels down. Again, a configurable option within the builder. So from a design standpoint, you have a version that you design with a simple JPEG, GIF, or PNG that lives in the 300 by 250 size, and then another JPEG, PNG, or GIF that is whatever size and shape you've set the expander to. Moving over into the ad builder, there's only a couple of configurable text fields. These are the open and close buttons, because everything else is image based. Inside step 2 media, as we referenced, you can put in any image you want. The smallest size for the collapse state is going to be 300 by 250. That obviously you're not going to make it any smaller than that, and so that's the size of the image you're going to want to upload for the collapsed image. For expanded, as we mentioned in the settings, you can set it up to 1,000 pixels wide, or 1,000 pixel end, or 1,000 pixels tall. So it's really depending on the layout and the design of your site, how big you want that to go when it's expanded. And alternatively to images, you could upload an SWF animation in either the closed state and or the open state, as opposed to just the image. Colors, basically your outer button, inner button colors, not a whole lot of color configurability in here, or other than on the buttons, and then the actual background color of the ad itself. The click-through URLs, just one standard click-through URL for this ad. And now into the custom settings, there's a lot you can do with this ad. Collapse speed, again, how long does it take for the ad to collapse when the person does close or roll off? How fast does it take to expand? If we wanted to slow this down, for instance, to 4 seconds, it would be a much more gradual pop, and will be a much more gradual pop when it expands real slow. So again, in the preview here, this is going to jump over to the left, but it would typically be living on the right and expanding left and down. So like that is your slow expansion. Do you want it to automatically expand when it first shows up on screen? If the answer is yes, your next question is, do you want to limit that auto expansion to once every X hours? So if you put no, it's automatically going to pop open every time someone comes. If you put in 24 hours, it'll open the first time they come to that page. If they come back within 24 hours, it will remain closed until they roll over or open it on their own. And then 24 hours later, that cookie expires. It would auto expand again and reset a new 24-hour period. Next question is, if you've set auto expand, do you want it to delay? Meaning when the user first comes to the page, do you want to wait 5-10 seconds and then have the ad auto expand, as opposed to happening right when everything loads? An interesting option. Do you want it to auto collapse after it auto expands? Meaning if you have it auto expanded and you put yes or put no in here, that means the user has to click on the close button to actually have it close. If you put yes, you do want it to auto collapse. The question is next, how long? What's the delay after it auto expands? Do you want to wait 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds for it to automatically collapse? Next is, do you want it to auto collapse when someone mouses off the ad? So if they're on top of the hit area of the ad itself and they roll away, do you want it to close? Yes or no? Do you want it to open when someone just puts their mouse over the top of the ad? Yes or no? By putting no in these categories, this activates the open and close button. Obviously, you don't need those if you're mousing off and mousing on for interaction. So I now click close this to make it close, but if I come back here and say I want it to auto expand on mouse off, yes, and I want it to auto collapse when I mouse off of it, then there's really no need for those buttons, so they don't show up anymore, because all the functionality happens when I mouse off, it's closing, when I mouse over it opens. now coming down to this is where you set the collapsed width and height. So how far do you want this ad to actually expand? You can have it up to 1,000 pixels wide, and again up to 1,000 pixels tall. This is the collapsed width. You're probably going to want to keep this as a 300 by 250 because that's the size of your ad collapse shape. But when it comes to expanding, right now it's 600 wide, 350 tall. You could make it 600 by 600 if you want. That's up to you. Just use those numbers when you reference what you're uploading as actual media to make it the same size. And then finally coming down here, do you want to show an image or SWF in the collapsed state, an image or SWF in the expanded state, and finally if you do not have auto collapse on, then the button will show up, and when it does, do you want it to drop down to the bottom of the ad or remain at the top? Just a design element on your end. That's it. As always, if you have questions, call us at 866-467-2289.